side. I can no longer hide. Let you down so many times. Sin freshly crucifies. Thought that I had a plan. I had it all figured out. But the more that you try to be by my side, the more I put you out. Make me over. Make me over. Make me Is that anybody's prayer today? Make me over again, Lord. 'Cause I'm tired of my evil ways. And I wanna make a change. Make me over, Lord. Listen. Time after time I failed you. Pierced your side when they already nailed you. Jesus healed my open wounds. Lord, I just wanna be more like you. Father, I let you down. What's not like you, just take it out. Reconcile me, Jesus. I just wanna believe. Wash me and make me whole. I'm tired of myself. I'm tired of my evil ways. Every day is the same time, it's the same thing, it's the same. And I'm ready for change, Lord. Create in me a clean heart. Renew in me the right spirit. Somebody wave your hands in here and help me sing. Oh, 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 oh. Is anybody sick and tired of themselves? Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this. Another glorious privilege to come into your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every hospital ward, to bring you Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the Gospel Show, emanating live and direct through the studios of WVTC, where we are Stellar Award-winning, two-time winning victory through Christ. We trust and pray that this time with Jesus would give you strength to go forward in faith. I've got my sister here with me, Dr. B. I don't know what's going on with her camera over there. It looked like the bottom half of her is disappearing. And we can't hear you either. Let's see. Maybe she's going to go out and come back, and maybe she can get that resolved there. Listen, we've got a great show lined up for you today. I need everybody to share this to their front page. We got a groundbreaking topic. We got some awesome women that's going to be on with us today. They're doing great things, and I'm really excited about it. So I want everybody to like and share. Hear ye. Before we bring our guests on, I want to remind you of an event that is coming up on this coming Monday night. My friend and brother Sal Butler was with us on last week. He's going to be doing a music shed. It's going to be music and money shed. Special performance by some of the Chicagoland's top musicians and singers. This will take place Monday, October 30th. Doors will open at 6 p.m. at the Nazarene All Nations Church, 6500 South on Ashland, Chicago, Illinois, 60636. Coming together, growing together. I'm going to be there. You need to be there. Everybody needs to be there on Monday night. We're going to bring that up again. But while we're yet here, I'm excited. I got some guests. My sister's here. Um, Evangelist Linda Robinson, she's in the building. I've got Lisa and Alexander, Kathryn. Oh my God, let me bring these women on. I can't even wait. Hey, everybody is in the house. I hope we can get Dr. B back in here. Listen, for the first time with me, I'm glad to have Lisa, Alexander, and Kathryn. Say hello to everybody. Let's start with you, Evangelist Robinson. Stranger here.
Hey, Ramon, how are you? Hi,
I'm glad to see you
everybody.
do it.
You
Good
know
to
I
see
love you, Ramon.
hey, that's how it goes, heart to heart, breath to breath. Lisa, we spoke the other day. It was
Yes.
so nice to speak with you, and I'm so glad to see you in person. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful tonight. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having us all.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kathryn, I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Hatam.
Kathryn
Just
Hatam.
Americanize it. It's
Uh,
an Ellis Island name. Y'all
well,
know how
listen,
that goes.
for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kathryn Hatam to WVTC. So glad to have you. I'm excited about our topic tonight. You are doing some great things out there in the kingdom. First of all, let's start with you, Lisa. You are into film. Tell us a little bit about your background. Since your first time here, we want everybody to know who you are, and that'll make us understand where we're going tonight.
Well, sure. So I am a native Californian, originally from Los Angeles. Now find myself in Houston, Texas, and I've been here for about 20 years. As far as I am a, I'm a PK. My mom was a preacher. I married a preacher's kid. Um, at one point, we had our children were PKs, so we just deeply entrenched in the church. Growing up. Uh, Career wise, I started out as a graphic designer and then kind of went into photography, did a couple of documentaries for some nonprofit agencies a few years ago that won some awards. And
Wow.
that has led me to our first feature film and why we are here today, My Father the Queen.
So this is your first feature film?
First feature. So I've got 4 documentaries under my belt, and this is the
Wow.
first feature. Yes.
Wow, that is absolutely awesome. Looks like there is a doctor in the house before we get to Kathryn. The doctor is here in full effect. This is my ride or die sidekick, Dr. B. I'm glad to have you. Let me make sure we can hear you.
I hope you can hear me.
Got you.
Here we go. Hey, everybody, how you doing this evening?
Hey, Dr. B.
Hey, doing good.
Hi.
Now, Dr. B, you got to say what you normally say every week. You know how that goes.
Ah.
You got to do it. You got to bring it. They need to know. It's woman power in the room tonight. Come on, say it.
Is there a doctor in the house? Well, yes, there is. I am me is she, and she is her. I am me, she, her, and we are in here on WVTC on this evening. I'm so happy to see everybody. Hey there, hey.
God bless
Hey.
you. I'm glad we got you
Hey,
back.
Dr. B.
Okay, let's move. I feel the energy here tonight. God bless you, Reverend Brandon Ferguson, McCarmel in the building. I love you guys. Listen, Kathryn, tell us a little bit about your background tonight.
Sure thing. So I am originally from Connecticut, but grew up in a smaller town in southwestern Virginia. I went to school for international affairs and psychology because theater wasn't a real job, you guys. So I came to film later after I had gone through several soul-sucking careers. Got back into the arts, was very excited to be here. I learned a lot. The indie film world, as some folks will tell you, it's dynamic, it's creative, it's collaborative at its best, but at its worst, it can be very stressful and always a little short on time and resources and people and the things that we tend to need. But I've been very, very lucky to go from smaller indie films all the way up to bigger studio films in my career over the past several years. I had some wonderful bosses, got to learn a lot from them. Definitely, they taught by example of being wonderful people. And we all need a little bit more of that in the world. And
Absolutely.
through that journey in the path of kind of taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or flip that, um, we we've gotten to see the diversity of different funding of projects, different
Mhm.
formats of projects, whether it's reality TV, um, scripted TV, scripted narrative features, documentaries. I've been just so lucky to learn from that variety, and now I've gotten a chance to come back kind of to my roots in indie producing and ADing. And Lisa was introduced to me by another wonderful friend who I actually saw earlier today, who is a lady boss in her own right. Kim White
Okay.
is a wonderful accountant. She has been my production accountant on several different films. And she does stuff for Lisa when it comes to bookkeeping and general accounting. So she teamed us up as two women who are interested in film as Lisa embarks on her first feature. Lisa was asking Kim some questions, and she said, you really need to talk to Kathryn. And here we are, definitely a bond.
Well, here we are. Definitely. Absolutely. Well, let's dig into it. Let's get to it. So, Lisa, tell us about My Father the Queen. How did this come about? Where did this title come from? Was it a book first? Tell us. Let's bring it on home.
Sure. So My Father the Queen, I got the title came to me first before I knew there was going to be a film or even a book. I got the title
Hmm.
and I was minding my own business and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. We'll have to do something with that eventually. And then I wanted to tell this story about daddy issues because I realized that I wasn't the only woman or man going through daddy issues.
Okay.
And so there's this healing journey that you have to take and this realization and self-acceptance and accepting your parents for who they are that has to happen as you take this healing journey. And so I started to write My Father the Queen basically as this healing tool for other women because again, I met all these women who were having these daddy issues that were reflective in their very grown lives,
Okay.
in their very grown lives. And so I started to write the book first. I thought it was going to be a novel fiction. I thought it was going to be this fiction book because I didn't want it to be autobiographical. I wanted it to evolve and have its own story to tell.
Okay.
And so started writing the book and got frustrated because at the same time I'm writing the book, I'm trying to adapt the screenplay at the same time. Not a smart move. It's like pick one, do one or the other. And so finally I was talking to someone and they said, Lisa, just do this, do the screenplay because that's really in your heart to do. And you can always go back and write the screenplay, write the novel later. And so here we are. Writing the screenplay was my first attempt at writing a screenplay. So there are many drafts, many iterations of My Father the Queen as I learned
Hmm.
and learned how to write and format because it is really its own language, how you have to write a screenplay. And so got it done, won some awards, and we're ready to
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you.
So tell us what it's about. I know you can't tell everything, but share with us
Sure.
what you can tell
Sure.
regarding My Father the Queen.
So, My Father the Queen is a Black daughter story. That's important. This is a Black daughter story of what it is to grow up with a closeted gay father.
Hmm.
And we talk about the trauma that they both go through and then what their healing journey looks like. And there are A and B stories. And so, one of the stories and the story that really resonated with Linda was this fact that the mother in this story is married to a closeted man. And that's a truth
Wow.
for a lot of women throughout the ages, and especially in churchdom, and especially in the kingdom. You have a lot of women who are in relationships with men who are closeted on the down low, who aren't saying anything. And so, this character, she portrays my mom. This is my mom. My mom was married to a closeted, didn't find out his secret until much later, until they were well married, 2 babies in.
So this literally happened in your family. Is that what you're sharing with us
Uh-huh.
tonight?
I am.
Okay.
So the premise is my life story, but the characters in the movie, they take on different storylines, just to protect, some family things, you protect
Okay.
some things. And
Got it.
once I started writing, the characters really did have their own story to tell. The premise is very much mine. Um, and what happened to us as a family.
So how did you translate that out into film? What happened to you? I mean, what was that process like?
A lot of therapy at first. You do have to you do have to heal in order to tell this kind of story. And even writing the story brought about another level of healing. And I
Yeah, I would
realized that the
imagine
story
so.
was so much bigger than myself. This was bigger than me. And there were so many people who needed to hear the story. So even when talking to people and just telling them the premise of the story, they're like, "You've got to get that done." And then I remember talking to a gentleman, and I will never forget his words. We were telling him this story. There were two gentlemen. The first one who I told the story to, he said, "Oh my God, this could have been my daughter." He said, "This could have been
Wow.
my daughter telling the story." And I remember just being taken aback by that because this is real for so many people. And then on one of our social media pages, somebody commented and he thanked me for being brave enough to tell this story. He said, "Because this is my truth now. I'm 40 years old and I'm just coming out." He says, "I've been hiding all this time." And he wanted to thank me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We lost Catherine. Well, I'm sure she'll come back. We'll
Hmm.
bring her right back on. So tell me a little bit more about how this works in with daddy issues. Because you know what, there's a quote. I did a little research on you, and we're gonna tie, I'm sure this ties into the theme of the movie. A father is a son's first hero
Hmm.
and a daughter's first love. I went looking and I went digging back
You
into your
did.
history, and I looked at some of your videos, and I this quote came across, and I was wondering, could you share how this ties in with what is going on here?
Oh, absolutely. So if we're talking about daddy issues, so a father is a son's first hero and a daughter's first love until that father is not able to fulfill that role in their life, right? And so then what
Mhm.
happens to that kiddo who doesn't have a father who's able to pour into them? Then you get these daddy issues that evolve. So it's a lack of self-esteem, and you don't get validated by this parent, and that just
Mm.
weaves its way into through your entire life. If you don't heal from it, it shows up time and time again, and then you wonder why you keep running into the same person, running into the same situations, and why can't my life look any different? Well, we haven't dealt with the root of a thing.
Root of the
You
thing.
got to deal with the root of a thing. And so once you start to unravel, you start to just keep going back, and you're like, "Oh snap, this started back way back when. And now I have a genesis of a thing. So now that I know the genesis of a thing, I can begin to start the healing process."
You know the beginning and the root, you can begin the healing process. So
Absolutely.
how did you bring the production part of My Father the Queen into play, and how did Evangelist Robinson and Catherine, how did all this begin to unfold? Share a little bit of that with us
Sure.
tonight.
So once you finish your screenplay and you do all the rewrites, because there are many writes and many drafts, while I was writing Carolyn's part, that's the mother in the film, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm writing this film. I'm writing Carolyn's part, and the whole time I'm writing, I'm going, "There's only one person I know on the planet that can play this part. There is only one person I know." And it had been a while since I had talked to Linda, and so I said, "I don't even know if she's LGBTQ friendly, if she would be opposed, because there are some scenes in the film that Carolyn
Hmm.
has to walk out." And so I said, I'll just ask her. I can't see anybody else playing this. And so when I mentioned it to her and I said, can I give you the script? I'll just give you your section and let me know what you think. And so it only took her a few minutes, and she was like, I'm in.
Okay, so let's move down just one slot over. Come on, Evangelist Robinson, share with us your take here and what it has been like being involved in the film so far.
Well, Being involved in the film so far, it has been great because first of all, it has been a true learning experience. I mean, Lisa and Kathryn are the experienced people in the film industry. And although I have worked closely and around it in radio stations and things like that, this has always been like this super secret desire of mine to
Really?
be involved. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But
Never knew.
coming up during the time that I came up, your parents kind of picked out which way they wanted you to go because you can make money doing this or you can make money doing that and that kind of thing. They want you to avoid that struggle and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
this is something that I always uh, secretly held in my heart that I wanted to do, and it just wasn't enough that that I've been involved with radio and that kind of thing. I really wanted to get my feet wet. So her aunt asking me to do this was like a dream come true. Answer the prayer, all that kind of thing, right? Plus, wanting to reinvent myself. I'm retired now. Well, from punching a clock, but I'm not really retired.
No, you're
And,
not
but I wanted
retired.
to-
From
I'm not
punching the
really
clock. That's
retired, right?
funny.
But because I am retirement age, by the way. I'm not ashamed to tell my age, but I wanted to, reinvent and go in a different direction. So the role of Carolyn, she's also a pastor, a bishop in the Lord's Church, and that kind of mimicked me in that. Of course, I'm a minister in the Lord's Church as well. But the story in and of itself resonated with me, particularly as it relates to daddy issues. So I've had them. Thank God that I'm not where I used to be, but I am still working.
Yeah.
I'm a work in process with daddy issues. So this movie really even helped me to unearth some more things as it relates to my daddy issues.
Wow.
What secrets and what lies can do
Yeah.
to a relationship, to
Family.
children, to a family, to your neighbors, community, and especially the church, and in particular, the African American church experience. Another thing that resonated very strong with me was the fact that Carolyn is married to a closeted gay man. And I truly, okay, I guess I'm outing myself here, but that's okay.
Go ahead.
Um, but I do know what it is to not be married to a closeted gay man, but I do know what it is to have dated and been involved
Wow.
and in love with a closeted gay man and even date bisexual men. I have.
So that's
And
why this resonated with you.
that whole piece and role resonates with me because I understand what the deal is as it relates to secrets and lies. I mean, the very first man that I dated who was closeted, I was only 22 years old and I was kind of green, didn't know anything going in the door, but it was something down in my knower that knew that something was not quite right. And I thank God for a young man in my life who was a bit older than me, maybe about 4 or 5 years older than me, who knew what the deal was and who knew what the deal was with that person. And he walked me through it. And, he covered me, he protected me, the whole 9 yards. And, he educated me in this area. And then since that time, I've dated 3 other men in my life that were closeted in that way.
Can I
And so
interject? And I want to interject because of something that Lisa said. Do you think that this may have something to do with running back into the same thing because you haven't dealt with the root of something else? Because you're obviously drawing this type or you're drawn to them. So what do you think this could be that this would happen over and over and over again? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm looking at it like this. I don't think it's a root of anything that I happen to be drawn to or they being drawn to me, because it's a two-way street in my situation, being drawn to me. But what I look at it as, oh, Linda's not just attracted to homosexual men or bisexual men. I look at it as I love who I love.
Okay. Okay.
And if that person happens to be bisexual, well, yeah, they are, you know. And the other piece to that is this, especially as it relates to this movie and my role. And I said, since I'm out here, I'm going to jump on out here for real. Is that I, even though I am a heterosexual woman, and I'm not hitting for the other team, as some people would say, but right,
Jeez.
you want the real deal, right?
Come on through.
But yes, am I an LGBTQ advocate and a supporter? Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am. And
Well,
I
that would make
think,
sense.
yeah, and I think that this story is so important to be told, especially
Mhm.
as it relates to the African American church experience, because the role of Carolyn
Mhm.
is a woman that's in most African American churches that can testify to this story, to my experience.
Mhm.
We hear it all the time.
Hear it all the
YouTube,
time.
Facebook, all the social media. We hear it all the time. We have women who are actually suffering in silence. And this movie becomes a voice for them.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I have a clip of what you sent me, and I want to ask first, is it okay to play that at some point, Lisa?
Sure.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay. I just want to make sure it was okay. So, Kathryn, can you share with us your role and how this is all going to come about? And of course, at some point, we want to know when is this going to, when is the movie going to release? But first, Kathryn, can you share with us your role in making this production possible?
Absolutely. So in my career, I generally focus on logistics, and whether that's part of the assistant director department and or the producer department, that kind of ties in. So those are the two departments that you very often have on scene early in the process to start get the ball rolling. And that is something that Lisa and Linda have been plugging on before I was even in the picture. And then when I met these amazing women and wanted to be a part of this project, that's something that I set about trying to help them do. Um, because my experience is mostly in the feature film world, just the way that it played out, I had some framework as far as we need to do X, Y, and Z in order
Mhm.
to set our foundations, because we are very committed to doing things right, treating people fairly, paying what.
Oh.
Wow. I hate that we lost her. And when she comes back, I'm going to allow her to finish her statement. Let me just put the picture up. We didn't put it on the flyer because I didn't want to. I want to make sure it wasn't too cluttered. But this is the picture that you will see at
Mhm.
some point, My Father, the Queen. Let me go ahead and play a little bit of the clip that you sent to me.
I am the spitting image of my father. I share his big eyes, same dark, tightly coiled hair, same wide nose. I am his daughter, and I loved him. And some days,
Miss Williams, your father was admitted to ICU last night. Miss Williams? Miss Williams, are you there?
it's a heavy cross to bear.
Wow, that was compelling right there. Dr. B, what do you say about these things?
I can't wait.
You can't wait.
I can't wait. I love the cover. It's giving me so much
Thank you.
life of Bridgerton. Y'all know I love me some Bridgerton, but
Yes.
I love it. Kudos to the cover. Kudos to everything that you're doing. I'm loving it. I am in such awe right now.
Well, I want to just pivot just a moment. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's just viewing tonight, and I want if you guys would just like and share, put this to your front page because it's something that's going to be said that's going to be a blessing to you. And I want to first go back to the fact that we're dealing with um, women of color in film that are doing this independently. That
Hmm.
right there, if we can just pivot to that for just a moment, is to be commended, Lisa, to take this. This is a great undertaking, and we want to support women in film, women of color in film, women, period. And I just want to let you know I'm proud of you. Can you speak to that piece right there? Because I'm sure there's probably a set of challenges just being a woman doing this independently that you have some experience with. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Sure. So let me first say that indie film producing is difficult no matter your gender or your color. So white men have difficulty,
Hmm.
raising funds,
Absolutely.
getting things done. They may have an easier time, but once you start adding on layers, once you start adding on gender, once you start adding on if you're a part of the LGBT community, then your level of hard increases. And so what we've what we've experienced, it's I'll say it's been interesting. This journey has been quite interesting. There are some things that I thought would be much easier that these open networks would be available to me. One, because I am a woman. Two, I'm a Black woman. And three, this is an LGBTQ themed film. You would think that it would just been a little bit easier to do financing, to get into some doors, but that has not been our truth. And especially coming out of COVID, especially coming out of George Floyd's death, his murder. So if you remember during that time, then all of a sudden we wanted to hear stories from Black women. We wanted to hear, do you remember during that time? It was like all these people were saying that we want to hear more Black stories and we have to get these stories told. And so funds were given to certain production companies, and purse strings started to loosen up, and you would see a lot of contests. Well, those have kind of waned, and then now what you're seeing is that production companies owned by Black women, they are owned by people that are already in the industry. So you have
Oh,
your Viola Davis, you have your Queen Latifah, you have Erica Alexander, who played Maxine Shaw in Living Single. There's one other young lady that also has a production studio, Ava DuVernay. How could I forget the marvelous, the incredible Ava DuVernay? They're getting that funding. And I was reading some of their backstories as I was reading some of Viola Davis's book and even Billy Porter's book, that Hollywood is very racist and very homophobic, despite what you see, despite what you may believe. And they say so in
that's
their
hard to believe.
books. Oh, Billy Porter's book is heartbreaking. Just all the issues and the challenges that man went through. And then Viola Davis, again, just how difficult it was because she was too Black, and just all the things, right? So it's very difficult for people of color and to get to make inroads in the industry. And then you also have to remember that as a Black woman, there could only be one. There were only so many roles there are 20 Black actresses in one role that everybody's competing for. So
Got
that's
it.
very real. So
Yeah.
I didn't, after I read all that information, I understood. I said, these women have done the work, they've done the time, they've got inroads. So it makes sense then that those funds would go to those organizations and to those women in their production company. I get it. I really do. So no hard feelings. I understand that. So now, as a newcomer to the industry with no networks, those are closed networks, because on their websites they will tell you, we are not accepting any unsolicited scripts. Don't send it to us. We're not reading it. So then it's like, how do you
How do you
get
get
in?
in?
How do you get
How
in?
do you get in?
And so that's when you have to rely on your network. So thankfully, I have a business background. So I've run several businesses, been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. And you lean on your network, right? And so I didn't know. Now, Linda will Linda and I met over 10 years ago at a women's conference. 10 years ago, we were paths, completely different paths, right? Had
Completely.
no idea at the time we met, and we were on the floor looking for her eyelashes because she had just come out of this, this altar session, and we on the floor looking for her eyelashes because these were her MAC eyelashes. Never found
Right.
eyelashes, but
Never found it.
we were looking for eyelashes. Never knew in that moment that we would be brought together again. And so she led her life, I led mine, and then when we connected again, didn't realize that Linda knows everybody. Linda knows absolutely everybody. And if she doesn't, the people that she knows people. And so
She
she's
knows
been
most
very,
people, right?
who knew? And
I
so
own it. I own it.
so it does become this thing where you depend on your network. And so my network has been beneficial into me making these steps. It's a journey. I tell everybody, enjoy the journey, because you're walking in spaces and you'll never walk that way again, right? So enjoy the journey. The destination that's not the end all. It's the journey. And so this has been some journey of walking through this project. And so if Kathryn was online, she would tell you that she's had to talk me off of ledges many times. It's like, Kathryn, why is this taking so long? And it's like, because as an entrepreneur, I'm like, let's go. It's like, do the things. And it's like step one, step two. It's like, all right. And being an entrepreneur, I'm able to turn on a dime really quickly versus, big organizations and corporations where it's like turning the Titanic to get something done.
Red tape,
That's not how I,
bureaucracy.
that's not how I usually operate. And it's like, it's like, let's get it done. And this film process is not like that at all. Not at
Wow,
all.
I would
It is a
imagine
slow
not.
process.
I'm sure it is slow but sure. Listen, let me say this, and then I want to go to Linda. I want to come to my sister real quick. A couple of years ago, we did a show on HIV in the Black community. I asked the owners of the show. I said, "Are you all okay with me doing this show on HIV in the Black community?" And because we had to mention the communities that were affected by HIV. So you can't talk about HIV and don't talk about sex workers, those who use drugs, and
Yeah.
those that are transgendered, and those that men that have sex with men. So while we weren't endorsing any lifestyle, let's be clear here, there's no way you cannot talk about that and not mention by name the communities that are affected. We had people on the panel that were professionals in healthcare to prevent HIV, to give you management if you should have it, how you can get medication, how you can lead a productive life. And one of my hosts on the show, sitting right next to me, disclosed his HIV status right there live. And he was comfortable with that. And he is one of the catalysts that started one of the first HIV ministries in one of our largest churches here, Fellowship Baptist Church and Trinity Church. It's on my live, so I'm not disclosing anything that's not already there. And he said that he went to the late Reverend Clay Evans and said, "Reverend, this is what I want to do." This was probably during the height of HIV, before all the medication that we have got the way it is now. And he said, and we call, and Dr. B, you know this, we call, and Evangelist Robinson, you know this, we call Reverend Evans the godfather of
Yes.
pastors. He said, if it's going to help people, talk about it. Go ahead and do it. So I want everyone to be clear what our mission is here and why I was okay with doing this, because this is going to help somebody. Be it the person that's in the closet or the woman that's there that's dealing with this, or just somebody that might be able to relate to this issue in terms of having a daddy issue, because that is one of the things that Lisa first mentioned. So while we're saying all that, God bless you, Walter. Listen, I think all
Hey,
my listeners,
Walter.
Bishop Evans out there in Kansas City,
Hey,
Missouri,
brother.
John Hammond, everybody, Sally, God bless you. We're praying for you and family, and Brother Maurice Clark.
Yeah.
So Elder Marlon Winfrey, Jerry Weaver, Teresa down in Texas, Michael in Cincinnati, Barbara Bacon, James Williams, Kimberly Jones Whitehead, everybody that's listening, please share. So I want to come to Linda. With that being said, you, me, and Dr. B, and possibly even God bless you, Leon, possibly even Lisa, coming from a Dr. Bishop Evans said, I am an HIV peer educator
Mm,
and case manager of women living with HIV.
Mm.
Thank you. See, we needed, had I known,
Yes,
I would
big
have had you
brother.
in here.
yeah.
So
Hey,
with,
David.
God bless you, David. All my friends, all our supporters of WVCT are coming in. I really appreciate you so much. Linda, us coming from a Pentecostal background, let me play the advocate. I ain't gonna never help the devil. But why y'all got to talk about that? Just pray and just get saved and delivered and be set free and then go on. What do you say to that when we're talking about this tonight? Because somebody is intimidated by this because they feel like we should just hush this and push this under the rug. God bless you, Doris Mount Carmel. How do you address that being a minister of the gospel in the Lord's church? How do you address that when we are talking about this subject that is so controversial and progressive and sensitive? How do you respond to that?
Whatever it is that you don't confront, you'll never be delivered from anyway. That's period. In the church and out of church. But since we're talking about in the church, I'm a church baby. I'm a PK, the whole 9 yards. Let me put this disclaimer out. I love Jesus. I love God's people. I love the church. They all been good to me. But what I understand about the church, that we've learned some toxic behaviors in the church. And we've learned how to put the mask on. We've learned how to sweep things up under the rug and not deal with it. And if we attempt to deal with it, the way we do is that, we're going to go on a fast and we're going to, we're going to get on the altar and we're going to tarry and all of that kind of thing, which is nothing wrong with that. But you still are not confronting the issue. Deliverance has to do with first being honest and being able to confront. Now, what I will say is this. My mother used to always say, the Bible says, confess your faults to one another, but you better know who you're telling your sins to. Well, I do understand that. You can't talk to everybody. For real. That's real talk. But in a perfect world that we don't live in, we want to make sure that we can identify people who are righteous, real, relatable, who know how to be discreet enough that they can come to you and talk to you and get out what's going on the inside of them doing the work. I believe in Jesus and a therapist. I have one. I see one every
We are all
Tuesday
there.
to talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? I believe in Jesus and I believe in therapy. And some of the stuff that we're tarrying over and speaking in tongues over and laying hands over, we need to go see a therapist and do the work. We have to do the work. Jesus had a holistic ministry. We
Absolutely.
have to do the work. We have to stop hiding
Mm-hmm.
behind the Ikabashanda. We got to stop hiding behind that. Nobody gets delivered like that. It doesn't happen that way. And Jesus is not appreciative of that either.
Okay. Well, okay. My sister's on here, Evangelist Cynthia Jones Kill. So what about the saints that would say God does work that way sometimes? If you really want deliverance, and I know we're gonna get to my father, the Queen, but I'm saying this because I know that there's somebody that is on this live right now that's going to see it, that is going to say, if you want deliverance, pray and ask God, and everything will be all right, and you'll be changed, and he'll make everything all right. Jesus gonna work it out. Come on, Lynn.
Well, I will
Come
say
on, Dr.
this.
B. You in this?
I'm not against that part of it, because listen, I have called on Jesus and he's helped me with a whole lot of things. So I'm not saying that we just dismiss that. I'm saying that Jesus and the collaboration with the therapist is definitely helpful.
Got it.
And
Got it.
again, and I have to go back to the first part of the first thing that I said. In order for us to be delivered and able to walk through anything, the first thing we have to do is be able to confront it. We have to be honest with ourselves. Don't lie to God and don't lie to you. Don't lie to yourself.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I have to be honest. I'm a church baby. I have to tell the truth. I learned how to cover up things. I learned it in the church. I learned it in the church. Now,
Wow.
again, that may not be everybody's story. Let me just say that too.
Right.
Might not be everybody's story, but I'm here to tell you it is a lot of people's story, right? And if it all it took was we're gonna get on the altar and we're gonna pray it out and all of that, all the stuff that we see that goes on in the church with people, all I can say is, well, how's that working for you?
Oh, can I please interject?
Come on through.
So, being a church kid, grew up in the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World Church, PAW kiddos,
PAW.
tennis, yes, PAW. And so, part of the story that is very real for me and for my family. So, there are, we grew up in the church, right? And so, my mom and my sisters, we went, and my dad stayed at home. That's kind of how that went. And so what you'll see portrayed out in the film is the father figure going to church after he's had a traumatic experience, right? So he goes to the church, and the church, we do the things. But at some point, and this is real life. And what I want for our African American churches, what I want for our people, what I want for our community is to understand that people will go through the process. They will jump through your hoops. They'll get all the oil doused on them. They will lay out on the floors and go home and still have the same thing, that whatever is in them is in them. And so then you have to decide, it's like, okay, are they born this way, or is this a lifestyle? I've talked to people who find it offensive to say that you call it a lifestyle, because this is who I am. I have prayed that God take this away from me, and it is not taken away. So it's not a lifestyle. It is who I am. And so what you see in the film is this man who is tormented. He is tormented because he hears what the church says. He hears what society is saying about him, and he is tormented and he is troubled in such a way. Now he doesn't even have the emotional bandwidth to parent his children. He doesn't have the emotional bandwidth to have healthy relationships, because everybody is telling him, you got something wrong with you, and all you need to do, there's a documentary out that says we need to just pray it away. Well, what happens? So this film shows you what happens when that doesn't necessarily work. And I can tell this story because it is my story. The outcome is my story.
Absolutely.
I lived it.
So let me ask you this, and we're so glad to have Kathryn back. You know, we're a slave to the internet here.
I am now plugged in, connected to some Wi-Fi. I am so sorry for the technical issues, guys, but I came back at a great point for Lisa and Linda to say that, and I agree. I think it's high time we start, both as churchgoers and as humans, seeing people for who they really are, valuing them for who they really are, because shoving that away and trying to put it, pardon the pun, in the closet underneath layers and layers of guilt and shame only hurts the entire community. It hurts the kids, it hurts our friends, it hurts our families, it hurts everyone.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Lisa, a couple of questions here. First of all, what do you hope to accomplish after this movie is released, and when do you anticipate a release date?
So 3 things. One, I want, when people see the film, and my goal is for people to have a theater experience. That is my hope and my goal, is that people will be able to watch this in the theater. What I want At the end of the movie and the credits are rolling, I want complete silence in the film. I don't want people to get up so quickly and move. I want people to sit there and go, what did I just see? I want people to internalize, see themselves in the film. If it relates to them, see themselves or see their parents. So that's number two. I want people to begin to see their parents in a different light, see them for the time that they were born and the societal norms that they were under, and maybe be able to offer their parents grace, because part of my experience, I had to offer both of my parents grace, because who could my mother have talked to when she found out that her husband was closeted? Who in the church could she have gone to the church? So then that becomes something that she carried. That was an internal weight that she carried. And then how that manifested in her life. I had to go back and look as a grown woman. I had to go back and look at my mama's life. I said, as a 24-year-old woman, what would I have done with this information? And knowing that I could not have gone to therapy. I couldn't have talked to anybody. What do I do? What do I do? So I want people to be able to see their parents as people and offer them grace. And so that's what I had to do. I have offered my parents grace, forgiveness, and seeing them as people, right? And then the third thing is I pray for healing. More than anything, I pray that people be healed, or that they would begin their healing journey. So if you are the daughter in the film and you haven't healed from your daddy issues, and your life is in chaos, your life is in utter chaos. Mental health is a big part of this film as well. So we deal with mental health. So not only do we deal with the LGBTQ, we deal with mental health in this film as well. We want to normalize going to therapy. And so if it can help you start your healing journey, I have done my work. I have done my job, because that's at the end of the day, I would love for Black families to be in a place of peace and to be in a place of healing.
Wow.
Less trauma, more
I,
healing.
I certainly hope that that is what is accomplished behind this. I put in the caption, it is groundbreaking and compelling, because it is a taboo subject that many don't want to talk about, or if we talk about it, we talk about it with a certain lens without looking for the end game of what you just mentioned, with healing and counseling and deliverance and all that can come, that can bring about a positive result, if that's possible. That's I was so when Linda brought this to me, Evangelist Linda Robinson, I was like, boy, I'm gonna have to go back to the owners and say, can we talk about? And I was like, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, Ramon, if this is going to help people and this is going to be a blessing to the kingdom, if that's the end game and the outcome, because somebody is dealing with exactly what this is about. And not only that, I'm not a therapist. I took some psychology, but some of the dynamics are very similar if it had just been even another woman, because that is another source of trauma that many women deal with, knowing that their spouse, or we see it on social media, just tells everything. Pastors have other children, and then the wives have to sit there and take this and still be before the congregation. And I think that the dynamics are probably very similar in some respect. I know that there's some nuances that make it completely different, but there is healing. And I believe that this is very groundbreaking. Do you have an estimated release date?
So my goal is to have this released for the holiday season 2024. Fingers crossed. We are in pre-production, so we're raising money. So it takes money.
Absolutely.
To produce this
Share
kind of
with
thing.
us those that may want. Leon said counseling is well needed. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Leon is my therapist.
Yes,
Sal said that shouldn't be normal, and you are absolutely right, Sal. That's my brother. That's the announcement I made earlier. That should not be normal. So can you share with us, Mary Strong? God bless you. How can those that may want to donate to this cause to make sure this production, this project goes out and seen all the way through, how can they do that? And maybe someone can put that in the comments. I thought you might have put it in your header, because those that may want to donate to this movie, My Father, the Queen, I want them to know how they can do it.
Sure. We do have a crowdfunding campaign going on right now, and you can just go to www.fundmyfatherthequeen.com, and that will take you to our crowdfunding site.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
In closing, Dr. B, I was just getting ready to go to Kathryn right after that. Boy, that internet is not kind to her tonight.
It is
Not at
not.
all.
Dr.
Not
B, in
at all.
closing, did you have any comments that you want to make before we wrap our show up tonight?
I just want to say in closing, dealing with the community as it is, even with people living with the HIV disease, let's just treat them as the person that they are. They're people too. They need love. They need God. They need us. They need healing in their souls and spirits as well. So who are we to judge? We are not to judge. So don't
Absolutely.
judge anybody. They've made decisions in their lives and may have been born with some things in their lives that they can't control. So let's treat people with respect and with dignity, and respect yourself and move as God would want you to move. Treat people as you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
I commend
Mhm.
you, ladies, for a job well done.
Absolutely.
We
I-
need
Thank
this.
you.
Keep up the good work. This is what we need in the society today.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Absolutely.
Dr. B. Ramon, talk about our November the 3rd event.
Oh, no. You go ahead and knock it out. Come
Lisa,
on
go
through it.
ahead and knock it out. Lisa, go
Sure.
ahead and knock it out.
So for those in the Chicago area, we are having a meet and greet. So I would love to come to the meet and greet. We're having a panel discussion. It's really in honor of the late Professor L. Stanley Davis, who was working with us on this project, and he wanted to make sure that we got the music right. So music is very pivotal in films, and so he was making sure that we got licenses cleared and copyrights cleared, and making sure that everything, the music was on point. And so when we lost him, that's when we said, well, we want to meet the people. People wanted to meet us. So on Friday, November 3rd, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., we'll be at the Connection. Adam McMath, Antonio King, Kathryn, myself, and Mr. Bob Marovich will be on this panel talking about the importance of gospel music to the film, and then the role of the Black church in the film as well. So you can go to Eventbrite, put in the search menu, put in My Father the Queen, or put in Getting the Music Right, and it will take you to the event. It's by donation. You can donate 50 cents, $1. You can, if you have $10,000, we will gladly take your donation. And so
I know that's right.
donate, and then come in. There'll be light bites, business casual is the dress. And we'll just come and have a discussion, and we'll talk about these things. And I would love to meet you. So Kathryn and I, we're flying in. Linda will all be there. Come meet us. Come take pictures. We'd love to see you.
Oh, real
Yeah.
quick. So
And our moderator is Gerald Montgomery.
Yes. I forgot our moderator.
my
Our
radio
moderator
brother,
from Windy
Gerald
City Gospel.
Montgomery,
Gerald
Yes,
Montgomery is
girl.
Yep. He is
Yes.
he
our
was
moderator
nominated
for
for
the
a Spin
evening.
Award just not long ago. That's my
Yeah.
radio brother. So, Lisa, what state are you in?
I'm in Texas.
Okay, right. You're in Texas. Okay. And Kathryn, as we got ready to wrap up, I said, boy, the internet is really being one of her tonight. Did you want to have some closing remarks regarding this?
I'm so lucky that I've gotten to hear bits and pieces. I'm sorry, my signal is garbage, guys. I'm in a warehouse location. I've been filming a commercial today. But this project is so important, as you've heard throughout the program. And, you started to ask me in that question, right as I got some steam up, what do we need in order to get this project going? And the answer is, as with any indie project, we need supporters. And that support can come in the form of, hey, I'll come help you cook a meal for your crew. Or, hey, I have a cousin who's got $1,000 he needs to, write off on his taxes. Or I have a local location and an apartment that would be beautiful for you guys to film in. Independent film is dependent on community buy-in, and we're so grateful for the welcome we've gotten from the Chicago community. Linda has been doing a ton of work there. You guys are a prime example. We need some Chicago support, and we are grateful for everybody who has stepped up this far. Please come to our event and meet us and hear more about it. And if you are interested in sponsoring this project and bringing new, unique stories that are important and need to be told to TV and film, we'd love to have you as a partner. Because everybody says, there's nothing good on TV these days. I've got a million options, but everything is trite and unoriginal. Indie film is the way to fix that. And we're seeing in the labor movements going on right now, that's part of what's going on, is major studios really control a lot of our media. And while they might turn out things that are entertaining, it sometimes doesn't reach the spaces and the people we need it to reach. So if you want stories told about you and things that are important to you, your family, your community, support indie film. MyFatherTheQueen.com. It's easy to find.
Absolutely. And might I say, before we go to Linda, the late Professor Stanley Davis was a very dear friend of mine. I did a special on him not long after his transition, and I dedicated pretty much like the half hour to his memory. Evangelist Robinson, go ahead.
I was just about to say, oh, how we miss our friend, Professor L. Stanley Davis.
Absolutely.
And, to his memory, I know he's looking down on us, as is Lisa's mom, grandma. But I also wanted to say, I've been, been working here, and you know what? It's been a lot of work, but it has not a troublesome work, because I have such a passion for this film. So it's just been a great kind of work and a great kind of stress. But I do want to say thank you to every pastor that I have approached, their churches we went to see on the location shoots, the various musicians that I've talked to, just so many people that have helped us get to this point here in Chicago. Thank you, my Chi-Town family and church family.
Thank you.
Who has been so gracious to open the doors for us here in Chicago. Thank you, Ramon Perry. We love you, and Dr. B. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Sincerely.
Well, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry. I want to again thank these esteemed women that are out here getting it on independent film. I made sure that I got us hooked up with some of the independent film groups on Facebook, as we never know what doors may open for you. Right before we leave, I just wanted to make mention that on next Monday, this coming Monday, my brother and friend who was just on here, Sal Butler, he will be presenting Music and Money Shared. This will be a special performance by some of Chicagoland's top musicians and singers. This is going to take place Monday. It's free, Monday, October 30th. The doors will open at 6 p.m. This will take place at the Nazarene All Nations Church, 6500 South Ashland in Chicago. Coming together and growing together, and yours truly will be at that event. Listen, I'm about to wrap it up. Again, I want to thank Lisa, Evangelist Robinson, Kathryn, and Dr. B, of course, for sharing with us tonight. Everybody that has been in here and made a comment, if you're in here, I appreciate you tonight for sharing with WVTC and Ramon Perry, all of the owners of WVTC, all of our well wishers and friends, and those that work behind the scenes, Dennis, Denny, Sylvia, everybody that makes this possible. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Please meet me back here on next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Share this live. Somebody needs to hear what went on tonight. Somebody's going to be blessed. God bless you, Cynthia Kill. Enjoyed you guys last Saturday at the program. Tell my brother I asked about him. We want to make sure that we support this effort. My Father the Queen, can you just tell them one more time how they can support and where they can go? One more time before we leave the airwaves.
Sure. Go to www.fundmyfatherthequeen.com, or you can go visit the website www.myfatherthequeen.com.
All right, then. God bless you. And
And
God
come
keep
see us
you.
at our event on the 3rd.
And don't forget about the event on the 3rd.
The
Listen,
Connection,
Yes.
4321 South on Cottage Grove.
you say
6:30
that one more time
p.m.
for the people in the back.
Okay. It's going to be at the Connection. The Connection, 4321 South on Cottage Grove in the Bronzeville area. You can go to Eventbrite, search My Father the Queen, and you can get your tickets there. It's by donation.
Make your donations. No tickets.
Make your donation. Make your donation. Every little bit counts. Every little bit. You can sow as little as 50 cents to get your ticket.
Take it.
But we would love for you to sow $10, $20, $30, something like that.
Absolutely.
And look, if you're hungry, we got a little something for your tummy.
Got some
Come
Phillips,
Come on,
right?
yeah.
Light bites. Absolutely.
Light bites.
I got to use that.
My
one.
greens and cornbread.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Light bites. Yes.
I look forward to it. I'm definitely planning to be there to share with you. Again, thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. Damon, my engineer in the background. Dennis Gary, you already know what it is. Dr. B, I want you all to can you all just stay on just a moment after? I want
Sure.
everyone, I want to talk with you ladies, but God bless you. Don't move, don't move, don't move.